The desert rose. The sun hung low over the Arizona desert, painting the endless highway in shades of amber and gold. Hacke Thornton wiped his oil-stained hands on his jeans and squinted at the horizon from his small roadside garage. The metal sign above him creaked in the hot wind, Thornton's Auto Repair, 24 hours. It had been his father's garage once. Now it was just his, alone with the silence and the dust. Jake didn't mind the quiet. After 12 years of fixing engines and changing tires for travelers passing through, he had learned to appreciate the simple rhythm of his days. Wake up. Work. Sleep. Repeat. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest. It was enough. That evening, as the desert sky deepened from orange to purple, Jake heard a sound that didn't belong. Tears screeching. Metal crunching. The sharp crack of breaking glass. He dropped his wrench and ran toward the highway, his heart pounding. A silver SUV had flipped onto its side about 100 yards down the road. Smoke rose from the engine. Jake's boots hit the asphalt hard as he sprinted toward the wreckage. When he reached the vehicle, he saw her. A young woman in a torn white dress lay partially outside the passenger window, her blonde hair matted with blood and dust. Her eyes were closed. For a terrible moment, Jake thought she might be dead. Then her chest rose slightly. She was breathing. Hold on, Jake said, though he wasn't sure she could hear him. He carefully pulled her free from the wreckage, checking for broken bones as gently as he could. She was light in his arms, fragile as porcelain. He carried her back to the garage and laid her on the old couch in his office, the one he sometimes slept on during late shifts. He grabbed the first aid kit from the wall and started cleaning the cuts on her face and arms. They weren't deep, but there were a lot of them. As he worked, she stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, pale blue and filled with confusion. Where am I? She whispered. You're safe, Jake said. You were in an accident. I'm Jake. I run the garage here. Do you remember what happened? The woman tried to sit up, then winced and fell back against the cushions. I was driving. Someone was following me. I think they forced me off the road. Her voice trembled. I need to keep moving. I can't stay here. You're hurt, Jake said firmly. You need rest. And we should probably call the police if someone was chasing you. No. The woman's eyes went wide with fear. No police. Please. You don't understand. Hacke studied her face. There was genuine terror there, but also something else. Desperation. He had seen that look before, in his younger sister's eyes, years ago, when she had run away from an abusive boyfriend. Hacke had helped her then, no questions asked. Maybe this woman needed the same thing. All right, he said quietly. No police. But you're staying here tonight. In the morning, if you're feeling better, you can tell me what's really going on. The woman looked at him for a long moment, as if trying to decide whether she could trust him. Finally, she nodded. My name is Elena, she said softly. Elena Castellano. And thank you. That night, Jake gave Elena his small apartment above the garage while he slept on the office couch. In the morning, he made coffee and scrambled eggs on the hot plate he kept in the corner. Elena came down the stairs slowly, moving like every muscle in her body ached. She had changed out of the ruined white dress and into one of Jake's old flannel shirts and a pair of sweatpants she'd had to roll up at the ankles. You didn't have to do all this, she said, accepting the coffee mug he offered. You were hungry, weren't you? Hacke smiled. Sit. Eat. Then you can tell me what you're running from. Elena sat at the small table and wrapped her hands around the warm mug. For a while, she just stared into the dark liquid. Then she began to speak. I was supposed to get married yesterday, she said. To a man I've never loved. A man my father chose for me. My family, they have certain expectations. Traditions. I'm the only daughter, and marrying this man was supposed to secure a business merger. But I couldn't do it. He couldn't spend my life as a bargaining chip. Haki listened without interrupting. He poured himself coffee and sat across from her. So I ran, Elena continued. I took one of the cars and just drove. My father's security team came after me. They're probably still looking. If they find me, they'll drag me back. And I'll lose whatever freedom I have left. That's why you don't want the police involved, Jake said. Because your father would find out. Elena nodded. He has connections everywhere. Money opens a lot of doors. Haki thought about this. How long do you need? What? How long do you need to figure out what comes next? A few days? A week? Elena looked at him in surprise. You're offering to let me stay? I'm offering to help, Jake said simply. Nobody should be forced into a life they don't want. You can stay here as long as you need to. Work at the garage if you want something to do. In return, you help me keep the place running. Fair. Tears welled in Elena's eyes. You don't even know me. Why would you do this? Hak is shocked. Because someone did it for my sister once. And because it's the right thing to do. The days that followed settled into an unexpected rhythm. Elena helped Jake at the garage, learning to change oil and rotate tires. She wasn't afraid of getting her hands dirty, which surprised him. She smiled more. She laughed at his terrible jokes. And slowly, the fear in her eyes began to fade. One evening, as they sat on the garage roof watching the sunset, Elena turned to Jake. I need to tell you something, she said. The truth about who I am. Hake waited. My full name is Elena Castellano Reyes. My father is Victor Reyes. He owns Reyes Industries. My family is very wealthy. Even never had to work for anything in my life. Until now. Until you showed me what it means to earn something. Hake absorbed this information quietly. Does it change anything? He asked. It changes everything, Elena said. Because I've decided I'm not going back. I'm going to access my trust fund, the one my grandmother left me that my father can't touch. I'm going to start over. Build something of my own. Something real. She reached out and took his hand. And I want you to know that these past 2 weeks, working beside you, living simply, being treated like a person instead of a prize, it's been the most real my life has ever felt. Hake squeezed her hand gently. So what happens now? Now I face my family, Elena said. On my own terms. I tell them I'm making my own choices. And then, if you'll have me, I'd like to come back here. Maybe open another garage in the next town. Build something together. Partner to partner. Equal to equal. Jake smiled, the kind of smile that reached all the way to his eyes. I think I'd like that. The desert wind blew warm around them as the sun dipped below the horizon, and for the first time in a long time, both of them felt something that had been missing from their lives. They felt free.